Trump's new deadline for Ukraine peace. Will the Kremlin respond? In a bold move that has sent ripples through the geopolitical landscape, U.S. President Donald Trump has slashed the deadline for peace in Ukraine, challenging the Kremlin's resolve. But will this ultimatum make a difference? Or will it fall on deaf ears in Moscow? Let's delve into the details and explore the implications of this high-stakes game of diplomacy. During a press conference at his golf resort in Turnberry, Scotland, Trump, alongside British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, announced an unexpected reduction in the deadline he had previously set for Moscow. Just 2 weeks ago, Trump had given Russia 50 days to reach a peace agreement with Ukraine or face severe economic sanctions. Now, he's cutting that timeline to a mere 10 to 12 days. "I'm going to set a new deadline of about 10 or 12 days from today," Trump declared on Monday. "There's no reason to wait. I want to be generous, but we're not seeing any progress," he added, expressing his frustration with the lack of movement in negotiations. The rationale behind Trump's decision to wait another 10 to 12 days before implementing his threat of high tariffs on Russia and secondary sanctions on countries purchasing Russian oil is unclear. However, this move marks a significant shift in Trump's stance on the Ukraine conflict, which has oscillated between blaming both Kyiv and Moscow for the ongoing violence. Now, his tone is consistently critical of the Kremlin and its leader, Vladimir Putin. Trump's remarks on Monday shed light on his growing impatience. "We thought we had settled this multiple times, but then President Putin starts launching rockets into cities like Kyiv, killing innocent people in nursing homes or elsewhere," he lamented. Trump also reiterated his threat of tariffs and sanctions, questioning whether the Kremlin would finally yield. "You'd think, based on common sense, that you'd want to make a deal. We'll see," Trump mused. However, after years of the Kremlin's stubborn refusal to compromise, the suspense is minimal. Moscow has steadfastly maintained that it will not end the war in Ukraine until it achieves its maximalist objectives, which include controlling large swaths of annexed Ukrainian territory and imposing strict military and foreign policy restrictions on a post-war Ukraine. Essentially subjugating Kyiv to Moscow's will, it's doubtful that the threat of additional sanctions on Russia, already one of the most sanctioned countries globally, will deter a Kremlin determined to achieve its goals at any cost. Trump's decision to advance the deadline by a couple of weeks is unlikely to sway the Kremlin's hard-headed calculations, especially considering the perceived toothlessness of the sanctions Trump has threatened. For instance, Trump's proposed 100% tariffs on Russian exports are seen as inconsequential in a country where trade with the United States amounts to just a few $billions annually. More impactful could be Trump's threat to impose punitive tariffs or secondary sanctions on countries buying Russian oil. However, the largest importers of Russian oil are India, China, Turkey, and several European states. There are significant doubts in Moscow that even Trump would risk a global trade war over Ukraine. Even if China, India, and Turkey were to comply and halt their purchases of Russian oil, the shock to the markets from the loss of Russian supplies would be severe. It would likely cause crude prices to skyrocket, fueling global inflation and increasing gas prices at U.S. pumps. Before Trump's latest remarks, Kremlin insiders were already dismissing his ultimatums. Russia's seasoned foreign minister, Sergei Lavrov, scoffed at the 50-day deadline earlier this month, saying, "It used to be 24 hours. It used to be 100 days. We've been through all of this." Now, the 10 to 12-day window has prompted even stronger rebukes from Russian political analysts, like Sergei Markov, who wrote on Telegram, "Russia's response to Trump's ultimatum will be the same as it has been for the last 500 years to all ultimatums. Go away, go to hell." Ukraine-Russia conflict. Trump sets new ceasefire deadline. In a dramatic turn of events, President Donald Trump has decided to shorten the negotiating window with Russian President Vladimir Putin from 50 days to just 10 or 12 days from today. This decision comes as a response to the ongoing full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Moscow, which has left Trump feeling very disappointed. The U.S. and Ukraine have been pushing for a full and immediate ceasefire, followed by peace negotiations. But Moscow insists that talks cannot commence until Ukraine makes significant concessions. Ukrainian leaders have welcomed Trump's latest announcement, with President Volodymyr Zelensky expressing his gratitude for the president's focus on saving lives and stopping the war. However, not everyone is pleased with Trump's ultimatum. Dmitry Medvedev, the former Russian president and prime minister, has framed Trump's challenge as a dangerous escalation, warning that each new ultimatum is a step towards war. Meanwhile, cross-border strikes continue to ravage Ukraine, with Russia's defense ministry claiming to have downed 74 Ukrainian drones overnight. Ukraine's Air Force reported that Russia launched 37 drones and 2 missiles into the country, of which 32 drones were intercepted or suppressed. In the frontline Zaporizhia Oblast, a Russian airstrike on a correctional facility killed at least 17 people and wounded 42 others. The situation in Ukraine is dire, and the world is watching with bated breath to see how this latest development will play out. Will Trump's ultimatum bring about the desired results, or will it lead to further escalation? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: the people of